So my typical day, I do my shift coffee and maybe lunch happens, but most times it doesn't because my breakfast is sometimes lunch, or I would skip breakfast altogether, and oftentimes lunch. What I'm left with is around, I don't know, mid to late afternoon, I'm like, well, hunger's starting to get me, but it's a little too early for dinner. So, it's mini feeding time, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
I call it mini, rather than calling things snacks. Snacking sounds like something that kind of goes on and on, like a grazing thing, you know. And in our program, we talk about meals more as feedings because we've been so hypnotized and brainwashed into believing we have to have 3 meals a day and then probably have snacks in between. There's some programs out there that actually think we can boost our metabolism by eating more often, right? But you know now, when you're eating more often, especially when there's carbohydrates involved, and I'm sure there are, that means insulin levels are always going to be higher. And when insulin levels are higher, our fat stores are shut down. They are not accessible for burning body fat. So, think about, instead of thinking of the word snacking between meals, think about mini feedings that extend the fast until you actually have a meal. Okay? So some of the ideas of foods that we can enjoy as mini feedings or snacks follow the same laws or formula as our breaking fast foods and our breakfast beverage, our shifted coffee, right? We're choosing foods that suppress insulin. They don't stimulate insulin. That means we're looking for things that are fat-focused and protein-focused, more so than carbohydrate. Nuts all have carbohydrates in them, but they have far more fat and protein than they do carbohydrate. This is why nuts make a perfect snack for those of us who choose to be fat adapted or fat burners rather than primarily sugar burners, okay? So any of your roasted nuts, be careful. Some of the nuts that are processed with a lot of oils, you turn over the back and you can see the labels. You just get stuff that just says kind of like almonds. Dry roasted is a good choice. Sea salt's always great. Just know, the least amount of oils the better. Those of you who are going hardcore, it's your raw nuts that are going to be the most optimizing, okay? But walnuts and almonds, they're your top 2 choices. And then it comes down to things like pecans and hazelnuts and macadamia nuts. What's your favorite? Cashews. They're way down, okay, because they're higher carbohydrate. Same thing with peanuts. Peanuts aren't even a nut, they're actually a legume. Okay, they're actually in the bean family, and beans are naturally higher carbohydrate. They have a lot of starch. So think about your almonds and your walnuts primarily. And what I love to do is go out and find your favorite chocolate, the darkest you can find, the highest cocoa amount, like a 100%, or even down to a 70 and 60%. You can break that up and mix it in with your nuts, right? That's a delicious little snack that carries you through. Because what we're trying to do is just give us enough to kind of sate that hunger that we're starting to experience so we can make it to dinner time without eating a full meal and then another full meal. Yeah. Some of your other good choices, my absolute favorite go-to are deviled eggs. Having hard-boiled eggs at the ready, and then if you have deviled eggs, even better, because eggs are one of the most perfect natural foods that have the right amount of fat and protein. You know, it's 5 and 6, it's wonderful. That's why it's part of our daily eating every day. You can take something like a low cruciferous vegetable or something like celery, which is very low carbohydrate, and just put some cream cheese, full fat cream cheese into that. Make a nice little, you know, celery sticks with cream cheese. And you know, we're used to doing celery like in some kind of like low ranch dressing dip. This is so different when you're using full fat cream cheese dip. Okay, we have lots of great recipes for that too. I'm trying to think of another one. You know, the deviled eggs, all the different kind of nuts, mixing some dark chocolate in there, and some kind of celery with some kind of fat dip, like a cream cheese. You know, you start using things like hummus. There's a lot more carbohydrate in there than you might realize. So you want to stay away from that for a while, especially in this initiating phase. Okay, so that's a wrap on our mini feeding, and see you in the next video.